So hello again, Devin and Niall. So we're still carrying on this theme of looking through the IATF Auditor Guide at the competency process approach, incorporating risk-based thinking. And one of the things that is included in this section is a sentence: demonstrate changes in prioritization based upon actual organization performance. And that could include information we've collected in management review, from a remote support function audit, performance against objectives, etc. We're going to explore, what does this really mean? So obviously, one of the themes that has come out of this series so far is the importance of audit preparation. So Devin, in the audit preparation, what type of information should an auditor be looking for?
Yeah, so you're going to go and look through performance both to internal and customers, and you're going to make sure that there hasn't been any changes since the last audit and they're meeting both their internal and customer requirements.
Right, and I guess whether it's a third-party audit or an internal audit, that information may be collected a few weeks before the audit. So when we're actually leading up to the actual audit now, and we turn up on site, let's look at it from a third-party audit perspective.
Yeah.
What should a third-party auditor do before they start the audit?
Yeah, so for the third-party audit, there's a minimum 1 hour before the beginning of the audit that is assigned to the verification of data and changes. And really what that means is it's the auditor asking the organisation on the day of the audit, again officially before the start of the audit, whether there have been any changes to customer performance, for example, internal process performance, and any other changes. And so for a third party audit, that would involve looking, for example, if it's a tier 1 organisation, into the customer portal to see the performance data, as well as looking at changes to internal process performance. And that might result in a change to the already published audit plan agenda.
Right, okay. And again, one of the themes, Devin, that has come out of this discussion so far is how maybe organizations that are certified to IATF can take some of the best practice from the third-party audit process. Do you think there's any benefit in an internal audit? Let's say I collected the data to prepare for the audit a month ago. Do you think there's any point in replicating what the third-party auditor would do?
Yes, absolutely. As you set up your organization, do your internal audits, the closer you can mimic the IATF audit, the better the results from the audit are going to be.
Right. Okay. So that might be good practice then, that before we kick off the internal audit, we would look at whether there's been any recent changes. Maybe there's been customer issues. Maybe there's been internal issues. Okay. How then, Niall, if we see that in this 1 hour, there has been maybe a significant customer issue, in the example I think we're seeing on the screen, it's a customer issue with Ford. And we also see that there's been some changes in the internal performance against some of the relevant key performance indicators. What should we practically do then as an auditor?
I think the key thing is consider those changes that you're seeing and adjust the audit plan accordingly, because what those changes are saying is there is a risk somewhere. So something is not as it should be. So it would be wrong for the auditor not to probe that in more detail. Paul, we mentioned a bit about the third party scheme. We have again a sanctioned interpretation, I think SI 26 in the IATF scheme, that requires additional time to be added. Again, this is very specific to IATF OEMs and the performance from their tier 1 suppliers. But again, it's the same approach, I guess. If there are known issues, it's logical that the auditor takes the necessary time to understand those and understand the actions that are being put in place to address those issues.
Yeah. And Devin, let's take an example then that we're doing an internal audit and we see that there has been a very recent customer concern, but the customer concern is still open because it's only received maybe last week. Is that automatically a non-conformity, or what's the minimum that we would expect to see?
Yeah, so no, it's not an automatic nonconformity. You will want to see in the audit report that this customer issue was followed up on and
Yeah.
understood by the auditor as what happened and what the company is doing or the organization is doing to correct it.
Right. And I guess that initial focus then would be on the containment or the correction.
Yes.
They may not have got to the total root cause of the problem,
Yeah.
but we need to look at how they're protecting the customer.
And Paul, just again, just while it comes to me, it's linked to this SI Sanction Interpretation 26, but the IATF will be publishing almost a guidance document, and I'm pretty sure that will be freely available from the website, the IATF website, that really helps auditors. And again, it will be as useful for internal auditors as it will be for third-party auditors. In terms of how they would use any additional time to focus on known performance issues. So that's something that hopefully will appear and be available on the website shortly.
Yeah. And next week, we'll be able to see a practical application of an auditor following these audit trails based upon changes of information that they've collected in an early part of an audit. We'll be looking at that from a practical approach. So let's summarize. I think the key message that is coming out of all of this series is the need to do good audit preparation. But not just preparation off-site before the audit, but actually right at the beginning of the audit, we need to make sure that we've got bang up-to-date information so we can focus on the areas of the highest risk. Whether those risks be because we've got customer-related issues, or whether because those risks could be that we've got internal performance issues. But auditors, whether they're third-party or internal, need to be flexible and they need to be reactive based upon updated information. And I think that's what the auditor guide is trying to bring out, that we don't just go through the motions in an audit, we become very proactive about reacting to change.